Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri, and is the world's first single barrel only liquor store. This business is owned and operated by Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution list. That way you'll know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and what barrel picks they have in the works. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we discuss Caleb Kilburn and Cordell Lawrence's new distillery, Eastern Light Distilling. My name is Steve Akeley. Please join me in I don't even know what I said there. Please join me in welcoming my special guests, Darren McCroy and Lenny Eckstein. Hey guys, what's going on?
Heyo.
Heyo.
Yo.
Yeah, so I mean, I always make fun of our announcers, and it's a tough gig. This is how you learn, and then maybe next time I'll be more respectful. Probably not. I'll be laughing like I always am, and I encourage you to laugh at me when I screw things up. So feel free. We're going to be talking about Eastern Light Distilling and what that means, and is this going to work? It's a pretty big endeavor, and we'll see how we think this is going to go. We'll get to that after the break. For right now, I've got some questions. If they were going to make a biography about you, a movie about you, what would be some of the songs that would be in there? So I feel for me, I mean, the song Breaking the Girl, you're familiar with that one? That twisting and turning, feeling the burning, breaking the girl, that one. And then they have that nice interlude in there. I feel like as they're singing, the song kind of builds. It starts out, with a pan flute type of thing, and it's very, very mellow. I feel like I'm going to be at that point in the movie. I'm in my cell, and they're like, it's time. And then you realize I'm getting ready to be put to death. I have the long walk, and the walk's going on, and it's building as that song is building. And then it finally gets to that interlude where it's just very primal. It's bum, 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 dun, 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 bum, bum, bum. And that's when they hit the I get the deadly injection. That's when it starts. You start seeing the tubes going through the tubes and into my veins, and that's when I die. And that's going to be, I feel like that's a key song that'll be in my movie about my life. So, yeah.
So what crime did you commit to be?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't committed it yet. So I at some point I'm going to commit some heinous crime, I guess. I feel like that has to go in the movie though. So I've got to get on that. I got to start figuring out. Hopefully it's some big heist, and I don't know. They don't usually put you to death for that. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happens. But again, it's life. I mean, we don't script our lives. It just happens. But I know it's going to happen. I mean, that song's too good not to have in the movie. The Rolling Stones' Paint It Black will happen during the seduction scene too. When when they go with that, that also has that nice interlude that's really just vibrant, and it feels like, I would be seduced to that. So, that also hasn't happened. I haven't been seduced yet. Which probably leads to me committing a crime that leads to my ultimate death. So those two songs are probably going to what leads to my death. So we'll see. I don't know. Those two songs are going to be in there. So yeah. Yeah. How about you, Elvira, Darren? Is it going to be in your movie?
Elvira?
You like country? You like country music, right?
Yeah, I do.
Boom, 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 giddy up, boom, how's that going to fit in?
Maybe. There? Like early on, I was trying to think of a good growth montage, like when you're young, and what's a good montage song. Hadn't thought of a good answer for that yet, but I'm pretty sure my when I commit whatever crime, following in Steve's footsteps.
Why are you committing a crime? That's my movie. What is this, a remake of my movie?
Yeah.
You're not killing
With
anybody.
a
You're
better
not going to the death chamber to get the lethal injection. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, what if Darren's playing the young you?
But still, it's my movie. This is supposed to be what's going to be in Darren's movie. So what's happening in your movie, Darren?
Okay, so how about this? I don't commit a crime, and I have a lot more of my life to plan out. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, Steve.
Okay.
Anyway,
maybe in your movie you need some good heist music, and maybe you steal from the ABV Barrel Shop. I kill you. And then that's why I go to jail, because I don't do it. I should have gone to the police. I just kill it. Maybe that's how I end up in jail. I don't know. Again, the movie, my life story doesn't involve a heinous crime that's going to send me to the lethal injection, but it's going to happen because I got to get it in the movie.
Like, I don't know. Maybe after saying no to getting married to somebody that I should have gotten married to, like the Queen of France or something, driving down a highway into the sunset.
Okay.
And then Mama Tried by Merle Haggard be playing really loud through my car radio.
The Queen of France wants to marry Darren for some odd reason, but he spurns her love.
Hey, you don't know what happens. I don't even think they're
no.
the Queen of France. Shit's going to hit the fan.
Okay.
So this isn't like a biography or biography.
No, it is. It is. It's just I'm talking about things that are inevitable to happen. I mean, my life isn't interesting enough to make a movie about, Lenny. So clearly, some shit's going to happen in my life that makes it more interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, like artistic license to.
Well, it has to be real, But yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What would be yours?
We're
voting, and then it plays the song "Wipeout."
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think.
Go ahead.
Like, a lot of Bob Dylan songs would work pretty well, not because they're relevant to my life as much as, like, I think, good movie music for talking about someone. Okay. Maybe also, like, Talking Heads. I could see that, I think.
You might ask yourself, why am I behind the wheel of a large automobile? Yeah.
There's, is that, or like Wild Wildlife. Or whatever that song's called.
Wildlife, yeah.
Not that my life is that wild, but that'd be a fun song.
It's just wild. It's crazy. Your life is crazy.
Super
crazy.
wild.
Yeah.
Look at me eating for a cocky, being wild.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not eating sandwiches. So.
No.
Yeah. All right.
Not wild enough.
No. Well, on that note,
I thought of my montage song.
Okay. What's your
Highway
montage
to Hell.
song? Highway to Hell.
I think that'd be my montage song.
You've lived a pretty charmed life to have Highway to Hell as being your
shit's gonna hit the fan. Scene. Maybe my montage is my second part of my life.
But the problem is, you're talking about growing up. You're already grown up. I mean, and you've had a pretty good life. I just met your parents the other day. They're nice people. You've got sisters that are supporting you, and so.
Highway to Not Hell, I guess we can go with that.
Okay.
I just like that song, and I think it belongs in movies. Like
his movie needs some work. I think. I feel like it needs some work. Yeah.
Highway to the ABV Barrel Shop.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you're a producer out there, call me up, and we'll start talking and get serious about.
Start spitballing your movie idea. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I've got Ezra Brooks, the Distillers Collection. This is a gift shop purchase. Let's see what we got. Here we go. I talked over my own, but
you did.
I did. Yeah, that's a first. That's a first. All right. That's what I threw out there. Lenny, you're next.
All right. I've got a bottle of Old Grandad Bonded. I'm using the computer mic today, so we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Has he got the lead then, or do I?
I think Lenny's got the lead.
Yeah. If I wouldn't have talked over it, I felt like I would have the lead. Probably. So Lenny's got the lead. What do you got there, Darren?
A little Smoke Wagon Uncut Younger or something.
Hey, we can hear yours now, but Lenny had the best one there, and I talked over yours too. 2 out of 3 I talked over.
Cheers.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about Eastern Light Distilling. We'll do that in just a few. Let's talk about the people who make these shows happen. First up is the ABV Barrel Shop. It is the most unique shopping experience in the world of bourbon, as the ABV Barrel Shop only sells single barrels. Owners Steve Akeley and Jim Fosnot select. With over 100 distilleries on board to sell us barrels, we are home to the most unique and diverse barrel pick selections in the bourbon world. By signing up for our email, you will always know what we have in stock. In addition to the single barrels, we'll have a gift shop featuring ABV Barrel Shop as well as ABV Network merchandise. We are partnering with vendors like Art Eatables and Old Man Bay Signs to bring you unique items you can't find anywhere else. We will also have a 24-seat classroom where we are offering educational and fun classes like Breakfast and Bourbon, a series where we pair donuts and bourbon, customer barrel picks, and opportunities to learn from master distillers and other bourbon dignitaries. Best of all, we feature a tasting bar where you can try before you buy. All of this is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. If you are in the St. Louis area, please stop by to say hi. If you're traveling in from outside the area, please take advantage of our hotel rates with the Drury Inn and Pear Tree Inn, less than a mile from our shop. This can be done via the links in our Visit St. Louis section on our website. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to plan your trip. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. Hi, this is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about the Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent trips to Kentucky. Today, he is amongst the leaders of young distillers leaving their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery yields insight on their unique family history, why their products are special, and gives you the opportunity to taste their whiskey, moonshine, and creams. Check them out at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com or visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
Hello, this is Jeff from Iowa, and you're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Steve Akeley. We have a pretty surprising announcement here that, Caleb Kilburn and Cordell Lawrence, and the group may or may not know Cordell. If you've been by the distillery, he's not usually part of a tour or anything like that. He's more behind the scenes, but does their marketing and a lot of stuff behind that. I mean, he's got an important role there. So between him and Caleb Kilburn announced that they're leaving it to start their own distillery, like a $143 million project in Eastern Kentucky called Eastern Light Distilling. And the idea is a production distillery. So not necessarily a place that you come and visit, not touristy focused or anything like that. The idea is to make whiskey for people who want to source it for their brands. And I would assume on the positive side is you're generating income from day one because you're selling futures, basically. Hey, you tell us what you want us to make, we'll lay it down, and what we collect, of course, at least a portion of the money up front. And so there's dollars coming in, which I think is probably pretty important. And Caleb, of course, makes great whiskey. There's no disputing that. He's done amazing things at Kentucky Peerless, so excited for him about that. And we'll see. We'll see. What do you guys think of this one? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's. Go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead.
Okay. I was just talking about the concept today of like with my wife, business partner Amy, of like where bourbon is going here. A lot of sunshine and rainbows. And I think it's warranted. I mean, right. I don't see the desire for more American whiskey, bourbon in particular, drying up anytime soon. It's going to go overseas. Who's buying it? Whether it's, comes to them as a client, whether it's a big client for a brand that's going to be of substantial size and who knows, be the next like Penelope or something. Right. Or what about all the small guys who, like what can you really do as a small distillery? Like if you're a town like, in a town like Buena Vista where I am, to even be remotely viable, you need a pretty large setup. But, what if you want to be a small distillery that's not a widely distributed brand and you can go in with whether you have money or investor money and say, I'd like, 100 to 200 barrels a year. And whether they hold them or you bring them to your own style of rack house or facility, I mean, I think that's never drying up.
Yeah.
And with the name that Caleb built for himself,
I think that's huge. That's really the secret sauce here, because you think about the production distilleries that are out there. Jackson's Purchase and I guess they got Craig Beam, but I mean we haven't heard from him for a long time. Caleb Kilburn's as hot as can be out there in the world of distilling right now. So he's certainly relevant. He's well thought of, and I do think that their phone is probably ringing right now with people be like, wait a minute, Caleb's going to be making some whiskey I can use in my own source brand.
When can we
Hell yeah.
start?
Yeah, when can we start? How much do I need to pay down to get this thing going? So I do think that's, there's some exciting potential there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and not taking, I think anyone in the know might say like Caleb Kilburn is doing this all damn. I'll jump in and have stuff made over there. But even if you don't, even if you're working with a consultant that's like kind of leading that horse to their water, I think anyone who's like, hey, are you familiar with Peerless? And they might be like, I'm not actually. Cool. You don't even have to be. All you have to know is that the guy that was at the helm, who was doing some really cool stuff and was a part of their success, is now doing his own thing. You don't even have to know the intricacies of it, but that's that fact alone.
Yeah.
Big deal.
When I hear, some of these other ones that are trying to do the same thing, because they don't have the corner on the market for new ones that are planning to be production distilleries, but they also don't all have Caleb Kilburn. So I think that's a huge thing. And then Cordell, again, behind the scenes, he knows how to run a company. He knows how to get it out there, help get the word out. I mean, so he's equally as important as well. So you can't forget him. Even if you listen to this, you're like, I don't even know who that is. It doesn't matter. How do you think you heard about Peerless? Again, great whiskey, but there's a lot of places that make great whiskey you never even hear about. That's one of the things that we do with the ABV Barrel Shop. We're finding this stuff. People haven't heard about it, but we have heard of Peerless, and a lot of that's because of Cordell. So it's a good partnership for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Darren?
So the thing I don't really like is because he has this big name in the industry. Everyone loves his stuff and has had connections with him before. I feel something that gets lost in these big production facilities is that charm of individual master distillers, or Beam produces a lot of whiskey, but they have their people with the name doing stuff and talking about it. If he just goes and makes whiskey and isn't out there, does he lose some of that appeal by the time that they get this thing built? Like if he's not constantly making a name for himself, 2 or 3 years down the line.
That's a good point. And I think that becomes, while it's his job to get out there and stay relevant, I think it's Cordell's job to identify those opportunities that allows him to stay relevant. And again, I think this is where this partnership works. I think Cordell is very savvy at those sort of things, and he can help Caleb navigate that stuff and say, hey, we don't need to have, so distracted you're never in making whiskey, because we need you making the whiskey. But he can also pick and choose what works to get the word out there. So I do think that if anybody can do it, that duo can. So that's interesting. Yeah,
and I would love for them to succeed. I love that idea. I just don't. It would be hard to walk that fine line of where you need to dedicate your time and trying to keep your name known so that your brand keeps growing and stuff.
Yeah. Now, the biggest question to me is, because again, now it's not a slam dunk. I mean, we can't just be like, well, Caleb Kilburn's there, Cordell. You're talking about a $143 million facility. That's a lot of money out on the line, and that's not easy to navigate that. So they definitely have their work cut out for them. But again, I do think it's the right duo. The other question I've got is, what does this do to Peerless? Where's Peerless at in this? Because obviously they're going to have the benefit of years down the road. I mean, that's the way whiskey is. You're making it, and you're not making it for tomorrow. You're making it for years down the road. So certainly in the short term, Peerless is going to be just fine. But they need to find someone now, don't they? They need to bring in some sort of name that pulls you in, and then you're feeling good about, hey, down the road the consistency is going to be there with this company. So I think they certainly can do that, but I just they've got some work to do now for them too, right?
Yeah,
maybe. And I mean, I think though they've done such a good job of building their brand from when they first emerged, and I'm sure in Kentucky there was enough buzz about their history and their trajectory or what their goals were. But, I think I could speak for Colorado, at least. When those little Peerless bottles showed up on the shelf for like $100 at 2 years old, everybody was like, what's this? And, but then tasted it, it was pretty delicious. And I have gone on record plenty of times as saying, I love that they did that.
Right.
Like, they kind of drew that line in the sand, and I think that's good for everyone. Maybe not all the consumers, but I guess more to the point though, I think they've established themselves. I think it would do them well to bring someone notable in, but their SOPs are there, their products in the barrels, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had someone kind of under the wing already that maybe can step up.
Yeah, that's a possibility. We don't know the inner workings of the organization for sure.
Yeah.
So this also brings up, as these companies grow, and certainly Peerless, not a big heritage brand, but Midland, they're right in the middle of the pack in terms of bourbon distilleries, and distribution, pretty good. So it just makes you wonder, though. And of course, we've already seen some people bolt, and you're talking about people like Jackie Zykan or individuals like Jane Bowie and Denny Potter breaking off from these, very safe jobs with big companies that are going to be there. They're not going to go out of business, and then trying to do something on their own. I think it's a trend that we're going to continue to see. Now, you're not going to get, family members like the Beams leaving, but pretty much anybody else, I think, is out there where they can maybe one day we're enjoying their whiskey and the next day it's a press release that they've left to start their own thing, and I think that's something that we're going to continue to see. What do you guys think on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think a part of that in a weird way is just the it's not just the growth of bourbon, the sales or the fan base or the enthusiasm and appreciation for the product, but when it's considered like an asset class at this point, and there's investment in new make barrels and seeing where that goes, I think that it's piqued the attention of big money to the extent that I don't know the dealings of this new operation, but we're hearing about so many. And Steve, what did you say, 150 million?
Yeah, well, approximately.
Yeah, they're about
3 or something.
That is bonkers money. And while it
right.
does take, that much to plausibly build a facility and a plant that they're after of the scale that they're after, I think that.
And about 50 employees too. For instance, Deerhammer has approximately how many employees? You guys have been
in the summer we have more, but between like 12 and 20.
Yeah, well, 50 was a lot. I mean, 50 is a lot. Yeah, I mean, I look at Royce, that Neely's got less than 10 employees.
Here, total tangent here, but how weird is it though that $150 million distilled spirit plant will have 50 employees, and Deerhammer that makes one barrel a day at best has 20 employees? Like, that's where, I mean, it's a funny thing, but that's why small distilling is really tough. Like, when I walk in a big distillery, I'm like, oh my God, they have less employees working right now than I do.
Right.
That's crazy.
But if you cut that back just to production, which that's all they're going to be. I mean, so you're talking about 50 people focusing on production. I mean, you would have a very small staff based on that. I mean, a lot of it is hospitality stuff. You've got bartenders, you've got your food and all that. So yeah,
4 in production. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's a little bit closer.
That is
look at things. So yeah, for sure. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we're going to start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at The Bourbon Adventures.
All right, Lenny.
You can find me and the rest of Deerhammer on social media at Deerhammer, on the web at deerhammer.com, where you can also order our bottle shipped to your door. And you can come visit us in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got that company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. You got to check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. Come by and see us, ABV Barrel Shop. We are the home of the single barrel, and we're doing more of those than anybody else, and I think ours are better than anyone else's. But you know what? We'll let you judge for yourself. Come in, taste, We allow you to try before you buy. We put our money where our mouth is and allow you to try before you buy. That's pretty darn cool. And please get involved. Give us a 5-star review on this podcast. Leave comments. That helps. And finally, if you want to be part of the ABV Network, you can go to patreon.com/the ABV Network. On that note, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Thanks so much for tuning in today. See ya.
See you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Last but not least is the ABV Barrel Shop. While we don't get to play in the allocated bourbon game because we aren't selling the other products you have to do to get those, we do have access via our friendships in the bourbon industry to some really cool stuff. Have you ever seen your favorite craft distiller selling some really cool limited offerings only in their gift shop? I'm talking things like the hazmat offering Distillery 291 did for their 10th anniversary, or Neely Family Distillery's Papaw's birthday barrel. They don't have enough of it to send it out to distributors, so they only sell it via their gift shop. Well, companies like Distillery 291 and Neely Family Distillery have agreed to sell us 2 or 3 cases of these offerings moving forward, meaning our store will have the access to some of the rarest whiskeys in the world. Way more difficult to come by than the allocated bourbon offerings with a national release. Yes, they will be extremely tough to come by, but if you're a customer of our store, you'll have a chance to get them. Get signed up for our email or text list over at abvbarrelshop.com so you don't miss out.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.